Hello, writers, and welcome to the Researchers Writing Podcast. This podcast is for all your researchers in the sciences who want to write papers in a structured and time efficient way so you can get published in top tier journals at a calm and steady pace. In this podcast, we talk about how we can write papers that are clear, concise, and compelling, and how to make the process of writing less hard. My name is Dr. Anna Clemens, and I am an academic writing coach with a PhD in chemistry. In the Researchers Writing Academy, my online program, I've helped hundreds of researchers get their papers published in their target journals using a streamlined writing process. If you want to succeed in your academic career, mentor your students effectively, and have your research make an impact in the world, you are in the right place. Let's get into it. Hello, researchers. Hello, writers. Thanks for tuning in today again. Today, I want to talk to you about getting funding for professional development opportunity. So, for example, for taking a writing course or writing program, maybe you want to join the Researchers Writing Academy, or maybe you want to join some other course or program, or maybe some other type of professional development event, like maybe a writing retreat or something similar. And I have really, really good news for you because as an academic, in most cases, you do not have to pay for professional development out of your pocket. In my experience, there's often a lot of this type of like hidden funding available, way more than we first think, because often it's not really being advertised that much. And I really want you to remember that it is in your institution's interest that you develop professional skills, that you get really, really good at skills like academic writing. Because if you're good at publishing papers, if you are able to publish a lot of papers in a lot of good journals, that's very much in your institution's interest. If they're a research institution, which I guess they are. And that means that paying for an event, a program, a course that helps you achieve that result, right? That is a really profitable investment for your employer. And I want to guide you today through a 5-step process that will help you to ask and to secure that professional development funding from your institution. So let me give you an overview over those 5 steps. The first step is to make a list of possible sponsors. The second step is to send the first person on your list a short email to set up a meeting. Step number 3, pitch the professional development funding opportunity in person. Number 4, follow up by email. Number 5, either get the funding, congratulations, or repeat steps 1 to 4 until you get a yes. All right, let's start with step number 1, identifying possible sponsors. Now, many universities do have professional development funds for faculty, postdocs, and also graduate students, and they may not advertise this funding. And I really want you to go into this step with the right mindset. So do remember that sponsoring you to attend, for example, the Researchers Writing Academy, which is for a whole year access, just shy of $1,000, that really isn't usually a lot of money for your institution. And the payoff for them will be huge. So I want you to go into this process of asking for funding with this mindset. And in terms of who to ask, who your possible sponsors may be, think like your supervisor, your manager, head of your department, maybe, any faculty support you may have at your institution, maybe director of research. If you're a PhD student, maybe your graduate school. Maybe a retention or recruitment office, maybe the human resources department, maybe the dean, maybe the provost, maybe there is some other type of professional development office at your institution. And If you don't know where to start, then I think the best way is to ask a colleague. Ask someone you trust to get tips for like where there may be professional development funding available. And also, maybe your university or your institution has some kind of intranet, some kind of internal newsletter, something like that. That is also typically a really good source of that type of information. I want to say if you don't know where to start, just start somewhere. Like it doesn't matter who you ask first. If you're really unsure who may be the best person, then they could all be really good persons to ask. So just start. Just start with one. And what I want you to do with that one person is now we get to step number two, send a short email. Talking in person usually is way more effective than making the whole ask by email because emails are really easily ignored. And when you're in person, you can just immediately address any objections. You can like convey your enthusiasm, I think, in a much better way. So let's talk about how to email that person. Well, first of all, keep the email short. You don't want to over explain what you want to talk about. Then you do want to suggest some times to meet up. So this is like a general emailing tip. Do not put the burden on the other person to suggest a time. Like it is not pushy to just suggest. I always recommend suggesting 3 times for the other person to choose from to meet. And that just makes it so much easier for the other person. If those times don't work for them, they will tell you and they will suggest a different time. Just makes the whole process a lot more efficient. And I think you're way more likely to actually get a meeting scheduled with that person. You also want to specify how long that meeting will be, and the shorter the better. So I think 15 minutes are honestly enough. So you give 3 options when to meet, and you don't need to give 3 15-minute time spans. What I would do is I would say, hey, are you available on Monday, anytime for 15 minutes, anytime between 10 and 12 a.m., for example? Or are you available? Or the second, suggestion could be Wednesday, anytime for 15 minutes, anytime between 4 and 6 p.m. Something like that. So give them like an interval of time that can be longer than the 15 minutes you're asking for. This is the kind of language I use when I write emails, and it has worked really, really well for me. Cool. Then if it should be that the person like you're really not finding any time to meet, then you can do an email pitch as well, and sort of an in-person pitch. And then you can use the advice we are gonna tackle now in step number 3 for that. But really only then, only when there's really no way to meet that person. Even like you don't need to meet them like with in person, synchronously, right? You can meet them over Zoom. That is like totally fine as well, or whatever video call tool you're using. It doesn't need to be in their office or in a conference room. It can be online as well. Alrighty, so let's get to step number 3, crafting your pitch. This is, of course, the most crucial part of the whole process because you really want your pitch to persuade. So some general tips are keep it very short and concise. Like, don't go into like lengthy explanations. Don't like over explain things or anything like that. And in order to do this really well, to be really short and concise, I think it really, really, really pays off to practice your pitch before the meeting. Like this can just be 5-minute run through, right? Like this doesn't have to be a big thing, but do practice it. Do you maybe know how you say certain things? And again, you want to be in the right mindset. This is so, so important. You're not asking for a favor. You shouldn't go into this ask with the mindset of, oh, I'm asking for a favor. Please, 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 can you fund me? But rather, you should be aware of that this is a win-win situation. Having you participate in this professional development opportunity, for example, a writing program, is a win for your institution as well. So You want to know the strategic plan of your institution or organization or department or at whatever level you're pitching. And also, you want to know how their goals are in line with what you will gain from that opportunity. So you need to know the specific benefits of this professional development opportunity that you would like to participate in. You need to know these really well. And if you have already participated in something similar, or maybe worked with that facilitator or coach before, then be ready to share your wins from that experience. You also want to research how that opportunity that you want to participate in is different from what maybe is already available at your campus or in your institution. You also want to know the exact dates and price and any other logistics or any associated costs of that opportunity. So, for example, if you need to travel somewhere, if you wanting to go to a writing retreat, then look up how much it would cost you in total. How much money are you asking for in total? You also want to be ready to pull up the website of the event or have some kind of flyer ready that you can show during the meeting. Also, another tip, remember this is a conversation. So it's likely that the person you are talking to will have some questions. And most of the times they won't say just like yes outright. So you want to treat it as a conversation and you want to be able to answer any objections that they may have. And let me tell you, most likely they will have some objections. They will have some questions. At least that may seem to you like an objection. And you want to have answers ready for those. And I'll give you some answers that I recommend for the most common objections that you will encounter in this situation. All right, before we get to that, let's talk about how you actually make the ask. And I created a template for that. So you can use this template for your pitch, which will help you to keep it really short and concise while convincing your sponsor. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about another professional development opportunity that is completely free. Do you dream of writing a paper and submitting it in the span of 8 weeks or even less? Well, I mean, reliably for like every paper you write, then you really have to check out my free training that is available at researcherswritingpodcast.com/free. In this interactive on-demand video, I walk you through each step of the streamlined writing process so you can write papers fast. But I'm not talking like crappy drafts. I mean clear, concise, and compelling papers that you can submit to a top-tier journal. So you can access that free training at researcherswritingpodcast.com/free. Looking forward to seeing you there. Let's get back to the episode. All right, let's get into the pitch structure and the template. So the first thing you want to do when you meet your possible sponsor is to thank them for taking the time to meet you and to state the purpose of your meeting. So you can say something like, "Thank you so much for taking the time to meet me today. I'm here because I want to talk to you about a fantastic professional development opportunity." Then you want to describe your publishing, like let's say you want to take an academic writing program, right? So you want to describe your publishing goals for the next academic year and how that ties in with the goals of your institution, organization, department, whoever you're pitching. So you could say something like, "Oh, my plan for the upcoming academic year," or maybe you say for the upcoming academic term or whatever you want to use, is to publish 5 research papers, of which 3 should go to top-tier journals. And this is in line with the goals of our institution, which is X, Y, and Z. So you really want to tie this in together. Then you want to briefly describe the benefits of the professional development opportunity. that you've found. So you could say something like, one promising and really cost-effective strategy to boost scholarly output is learning a writing process and writing techniques that help getting published in high-ranking journals time efficiently. And you really want to make the case for that professional development opportunity. So you really want to highlight how this is different from any offers at your institution. And you could also describe any previous experience you have with that facilitator coach, or I definitely recommend you doing both. So what you could say is, however, at our institution, there aren't just any options for academic writing courses that teach researchers both how to write those high impact papers and also how to do that efficiently. And I found this really amazing online program that specifically teaches you to develop the structured process to write research papers for top tier journals. And apart from that online course, there's also plenty of writing support in that program, such as writing retreats, co-writing sessions, and writing sprints. So I think it's really good value. And that program is facilitated by academic writing coach Dr. Anna Clemens, whose free training I have taken. Or maybe you could say something like, who has a scientific writing blog that I have taken a lot of valuable advice from. Or I've followed her newsletter for years and I've always like her tips have really helped me. So you want to give them some specific wins. If you had specific wins, if you can like say, oh, like this helped me publish this research paper, this helped me finish this paper, this helped me write a really good abstract that I got really good feedback on. Any wins that you've already had with, the facilitator, in this case, I was talking about myself, you want to present, you want to give them. And then you want to specify all the details about the professional development opportunity. So you want to know the dates, the prices, any deadlines, any travel expenses if applicable. And you want to have the website of the program up on your phone or laptop and have the link ready to send them. So you'd say something like, oh, the program, the Researchers Writing Academy program, that's for 12 months and it costs $9.97 US. Here's what's included. Da, 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 da. And then, very important, we sometimes forget this step, but it is important. And this is the most uncomfortable step. But so do practice this one. Do practice saying this. You want to make the ask, right? So you want to say, would you be willing to support my participation in this comprehensive academic writing program, considering that taking part in it would significantly increase my scholarly output in the next academic year and beyond, which really is in line with the strategic goals of our institution. So at the end of the conversation, depending on what they said, if they said yes, you want to agree on next steps. So make sure that how are you going to pay for it? What's the starting date? When will you start to enroll in it? All those things you can like clarify, make it really clear who's paying it. Do we need an invoice? Are you using that credit card? Should you use your own credit card and then get it reimbursed? Like all those things, clarify it. And also, for sure, whether you got a yes or not, you want to thank them for their time. I mean, this is just general politeness, of course, but also you don't know. Like, if you get a no, this could just be a no now. This isn't necessarily a no forever. Maybe you planted a seed. Maybe it takes someone else in your institution to come up to them and ask them about something similar, maybe the same opportunity. And they go, oh, wow, like maybe there's something to that. And maybe then they got convinced, or maybe they don't have money right now, but when they have money next year, they get back to you. So either way, thank them for their time again. All right. Let's now get to the common objections that you may get. Most likely, the person you're talking to will have further questions about the professional development opportunity that you pitched. This really is to be expected, so don't despair if you get an objection. Actually, I think an objection can be a good sign because when someone is asking a lot of questions about something, they are interested. They are really thinking about it. They're really thinking, okay, would this be applicable? Can we make this work? Does it make sense? Like sometimes they also just want to get some arguments that they can present their superiors with because maybe they need to get someone else to agree on it. So they are really just trying to get a good sense of it. So you can really gain a lot by having good answers to their objections. All right. So here are some common objections that you may hear, and here's what I recommend to reply. Objection number one, unfortunately, we don't have the funds to cover the costs. Okay, your reply could be, you could ask them to think about what the cost would be if they wouldn't send you. Now, this may seem a little drastic, and you can do this. You don't need to do this in a drastic way, but you can maybe appeal to just painting the picture of how much you'll just continue to struggle if you are not going to take that professional development opportunity, how that will negatively affect your work and your output. Also, you could explore if you get the answer we don't have the funds to cover the cost, you could explore some alternative strategies. So, could they maybe shoulder part of the cost? Or could they write you a letter stating that they support you taking the program so that you can take that letter to the next person you are asking? So you already have some more support. Or maybe they would be open to fund your participation sometime in the future. So there's definitely something to ask. Or maybe you could offer something in return. For example, you could talk about your experiences, what you learned, to other colleagues in your institution. All right, that was objection number one. Let's get to objection number two, which is, well, we already have this type of support at our institution. So, what do you answer to this objection? Well, you want to explain really well how the professional development opportunity is different from those existing offers that your institution has. For example, maybe it is more targeted towards your needs. For the Researchers Writing Academy, if that is the professional development opportunity you are pitching, you could argue that it really goes beyond teaching you how to get better at English, or even it goes even beyond how to just get better at writing, because it teaches you that whole process to write a paper time efficiently. So, on top of that, it comes with a lot of day-to-day writing support that your institution most likely isn't offering. Okay, let's get to objection number three, which is I have never heard of the Researchers Writing Academy or this other professional development opportunity as a way to support academics. What should your reply be? Well, you want to empathize with them. You want to say, yeah, when I first found out about this, I was really surprised. I'd never heard about this. But then I did some research and I was really amazed by all the results I've been seeing academics get from it, etc., etc. So kind of take them a little bit on your journey, how you found out about it. And maybe you know someone who recommended this to you, then this is very, very good to mention. You can say, oh, this colleague, I mean, maybe this colleague is known to you both, then do mention that recommended this to me and they got great results. Or you can pull up reviews or testimonials that you can show. All right. So these were the objections. Now let's get to step number four, which is the follow-up. Very, very important step. After the meeting, you want to send the person you talked to a short email. You want to thank them for their time and summarize what you agreed upon. And you send that email no matter whether they said no or yes. Remember, you're planting a seed, perhaps, right? Like this may be a bit of a long-term strategy, but there will be like professional development opportunities popping up all the time for you, like year after year. I mean, ideally, You want to take some professional development, right? Like, so you want to really nurture those relationships. And maybe also that person you talk to, maybe the initial no, after all, may turn into a yes. So you just want to keep yourself top of mind. So send the email, thank them for their time, summarize what you agreed upon. And if they said yes, well, actually, if they said yes or no, attach any useful information concerning that opportunity, whether that's a link to a website, whether that's a flyer, any other information, any reviews, anything like that. And yeah, that's your quick, super short follow-up email. All right, step number 5 now. Well, that is repeat steps 1 to 4 until you get funding. So if you get a yes, if you got a yes from that sponsor, then congratulations on securing that funding. Really, really well done. But if that first person you talked to couldn't fund you, then don't despair. Really, 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 really. This is so common that you need to move on to a few persons on your list. Just repeat the steps 1 to 4 that we just ran through with the next person on your list. And sometimes it even may take a little discussion among sponsors. So sometimes you need to approach several people and maybe they then start talking to each other, especially if it's a larger investment for your department or institution. This may take a little bit of time to get the ball rolling. So yeah, my recommendation is do not give up after one no that you hear, but keep going, keep being persistent, keep persuading your institution because honestly, they should fund you to do this. This is a professional development opportunity. You're becoming a better employee by improving your writing skills by being able to publish consistently, by being able to publish in top tier journals, by staying sane, by having a really good work-life balance, so that, you're not just like completely all over the place as you're working there. And this is a stressful job, so you do need some help. And your institution, really, it's their responsibility to provide you with that. So that's the mindset. This is what I think. And yeah, I hope this whole walking you through these 5 steps was useful. And good luck. My fingers are crossed. Do ask, do make the ask. And yeah, if you decide to join the Researchers Writing Academy, then I'm really, really looking forward to meeting you in there and talk to you soon. Bye. If you would like to submit a question for me to answer on the podcast, please head to researcherswritingpodcast.com/question. That's researcherswritingpodcast in one word.com/question. And if you enjoyed this podcast episode, it would really mean the world to me if you could review it in your favorite platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whichever app you're using. The more reviews a show has, the more likely it will be shown to others who are looking for podcasts in the academic writing space. So thank you.